Right, joining me now is the royal commentator Michael Cole, who's met Liz Truss a couple of times, good stuff, and also voted for her in the leadership contest. Michael, thank you very much. Great stuff here. Great to have you on. So you've met Liz Truss a couple of times, have you? Have you met her recently?
Well, I confess I'm guilty. I voted for her, you know, sue me, shoot arrows through me, as Nathan Detroit sings in Guys and Dolls. I'm responsible. Yeah, I had lunch with her a couple of times. Bear in mind that for 5 years for BBC, I covered in the journalistic, not the equine sense, Mrs. Thatcher from her election as party leader to the doorstep of that door there, number 10. And let me just tell you that from the very beginning, Liz Truss was never a Margaret Thatcher. She didn't listen at these lunches. She spoke poorly. And she looked awful. I mean, as Prime Minister, she's been walking around like a postulant nun. I mean, she never learned how to curtsy to the late Queen and hadn't learned how to do it by the time she met the new king. And after all, she was representing this country, and it was dreadful. So I've got sort of buyer's remorse. I did vote for her. And the reason was that we had only two choices. There was this absurdly protracted election process during the summer, which paralyzed government when the time needed to be decisive. Eventually, we had a choice of two. I didn't think that Rishi Sunak was electable because he who wields the dagger never wears the crown. So I voted for her.
Michael, this is it. Let me just come in here because you raise a good point. You raise a good point, which is that I'm not sure that the British public like a bit of a grass or like a bit of a snitch. And, of course, I'm not saying that Rishi Sunak is necessarily those things, but the optics of it were quite bad. It looked as though Rishi was on manoeuvres, wasn't he, and maybe was leaking the odd thing. Of course, he fervently denies all of this. I don't think people like fishy Rishi that much. What I will ask, though, you said you had buyer's remorse with Truss. Have you got seller's remorse with Boris? That's what I want to know, because apparently he's in the running.
Well, interestingly, when he stood, I went for the man who's next door to where temporarily Miss Truss is at the moment. I voted for Mr. Hunt, and he, of course, he's now come back in an effort to save our economy. And so far, he seems to be making some progress. So marks for him. Of course, I know Boris quite well. He actually interviewed me for the Daily Telegraph on one occasion and turned up for our appointment 3 hours late, as he normally would. So he has great qualities, of course he does, but you've got this Partygate hanging over you, and we're looking at him speaking in front of number 10. Do you know the thing, Patrick, which I can't work out? How is it that all those clever people inside that building, all Oxbridge clever dicks, who fought to get those jobs, were interviewed, got a shortlist, and got the job? How on earth did those people think it was a good idea to disobey the laws that they were busy enforcing on the rest of us and go up to the local co-op and bring back booze in a wheelie suitcase? How is it that those people are so stupid? And we've seen some stupidity in the last few weeks too.
OK, yeah, look, interesting stuff. Michael, thank you very much. You are, of course, well, if you're voting in the election, you must be a Conservative Party member, so it's really, yeah, of course. It was interesting to get your views on that.